to left field. There it goes. There goes Dean. He slides in. He's safe. Happy to have you with us as Marco Gonzalez takes the ball for the Mariners today. The deciding game of this 3-game series. The Mariners and the Houston Astros from inside Safeco Field. Once again, Alex Bregman leading things off for A.J. Hinch.
So far for Bregman, just a couple of singles in the series, but you want to be careful with him. 24 home runs on the year. Jose Altuve off the disabled list last night. His first game back, he was 0 for 3. He will hit second today. And hitting 7th in the lineup, Josh Reddick, his 13th home run in last night's game. For Marco, 12-game winner so far, a 3.91 ERA and 142 2/3. He has 125 strikeouts. Opponents hitting 270 against Marco Gonzalez. And look at the Mariners defense. Mitch Haniger in center, but look at this. Robinson Cano getting his first start at third base. That's right, third base this afternoon. Mike Zunino will do the catching.
Marco, as we know, working on 4 extra days rest. His last start coming on the previous road trip against the Oakland Athletics, going 5 innings. Oh, the month of August has been a bit of a struggle for Marco Gonzalez. Maybe the rest coming at the right time. Drops in a first pitch strike to Alex Bregman. Mike, I was really surprised looking at the numbers today for Marco Gonzalez. Only his 2nd start this year against the Astros.
That was surprising. I saw the same thing, and it's all the way back in April.
Deep backhand. Segura plants, throws, stretch, not in time. Infield base hit for Bregman. Scott Service thinking it over. We'll wait to hear from the video room.
Supermo. Yeah, it looks that he did beat it out. Strong throw from Segura. Just too much speed for the leadoff hitter, Bregman.
Let's talk about the leadoff hitter for the Astros. Mariners catch a break again. No George Springer at the top of the order, dealing with the quad injury. He will miss all 3 games. Maybe we'll see him later coming off the bench. At least out of the starting lineup for all 3 as Altuve climbs in. As he so often does, going after the first pitch, strike 1.
He's 0 for 3 last night. He did walk.
Now, the way that the starts have been spread out now for Marco, he will pitch 3 times in the span of 21 days. First start, of course, being here today. We will see him, it looks like, in San Diego, then in Oakland on the upcoming road trip. And we all knew this was coming. Marco did as well, of course. His first year coming off of Tommy John. His first full season, I should say, off of Tommy John. And Mike, for Marco, this is a kind of uncharted territory for him. He's never been in a position in his professional career where they have had to monitor his innings, and Scott Service and Jerry Dipoto having to do that this year.
Well, the good news with that is that he's been healthy, and that's the reason why they're having to watch. He's also pitched well. Another reason why he's been able to pitch the innings that he has so far. Altuve spoiling that changeup. But I think when you consider the extra day's rest, his average fastball this year at 90 miles an hour. Cutter, changeup, curveball to go with it. I think that his fastball will probably still be in that 90-mile-an-hour range. The hope is that his command will be better where he's on the edges of the plate. He typically throws a lot of strikes, but you mentioned his struggle so far in the month. I think when you have to start forcing it because you're getting tired, you start losing a little bit of command. So hopefully that'll clean it up for him.
You saw the numbers in July. They were fantastic. As it gets Altuve looking. It's a bit of a call for strike 3, and now number 1.
This is one of the things we've seen this year in its adjustment. We talk about the cutter, and typically when you think of a cut fastball, I think it's going to be inside to the righties. But he will do this quite a bit with 2 strikes. Started off the plate away. The hitters typically will give up on it. Nice job by Mike Zunino to frame it.
But that overhead look was terrific to see how that comes back on him.
And you could tell where Mike was set up, and the ball actually, the way it was moving the cutter, coming back to that corner. It's a difficult pitch to throw because if you make a mistake in the middle of the plate, typically you're going to get hurt. So you have to have great command of it, and Marco's been able to do that this year. At the beginning of the year, the cutter was always inside, but as the season has moved on, that's one of the adjustments that he has made.
Swinging strike 1 at Correa. We talked about that start earlier for Gonzalez way back in April against these Astros, and for Marco, he struck out 8 Astros in that start, and it was an outing where at the time he threw a season high in curveballs. Now he has since gone on to throw more curveballs in a number of starts than what he did against the Astros, but that was a big pitch for him against Houston early on. It's kind of interesting because at the time when he struck out 8, I think a lot of us kind of took notice of that, right? We didn't think of Marco Gonzalez as a guy that would have the ability to push 10 strikeouts in his start. We've seen him do that more often, though, the 7 to 8 strikeouts in an outing. But at the time, that was the first time we saw it this season.
Up to that point, his season high was 5. His next outing with Chicago, he ended up striking out 8 again.
And really, when you look at the numbers this year for Marco, amongst his peers in the rotation, the second best strikeout per 9 and the second best ground ball rate among Mariners starters, and the best command, lowest walk rate. And I am Bregman.
With the cutter, he will also mix in a 2-seam fastball and try to work that down and away from the righties. 4-seamer at 90, he will elevate top of the strike zone. Another good changeup from him.
Now we have to bring this up given the fact that there is 1 out and a runner at first base, and last night the Astros grounded into 6 double plays. It's the most double plays ever turned by Mariners infield in franchise history. Most hit into by an Astros game.
Yep.
Astros history. And a chopper to Segura. A chance for 2. Not going to happen. Correa into first base in plenty of time. Oh, you're talking about those double plays. 5 were turned behind Ross Detweiler in relief, which kind of makes it even more interesting. But Ross Detweiler designated for assignment today. Nick Rumbelow recalled from AAA Tacoma. Detweiler, like, pitching very strong 6 innings last night.
Yeah, a lot of compliments from Scott Service after the game for the work that he was able to put in. 6 innings, 3 earned runs.
White slugs this out to Haniger. Tailing away from him. Haniger looking up, banging off the wall, and kicks away from him. Bregman pedaling home. He scores. Correa, I beg your pardon. Meanwhile, White is into third. That ball nearly got out. 1-0 Astros early.
And I think Mitch Haniger had a tough time picking the ball up. That's on the outside corner, but elevated belt high. A little bit of a late break for Mitch. It's going to hit right in the middle of the wall. I'm not sure he would have been able to get back in time, and then he falls down on the track. That's why White decided to go to third.
Strike 1 to Gonzalez. Kicks away from Zunino, and White can trot home.
That'll be a wild pitch. A breaking ball in the dirt.
It's only the second wild pitch this year for Marco Gonzalez. But unfortunately coming to the runner at third base.
That went off Mike's hand first before hitting the chest protector. That's the reason why it bounced sideways. Typically that ball will drop right in front of him.
Shot foul over towards right field. A ball and 2 strikes now. The Mariners will be facing Charlie Morton when we get to the bottom of the 1st inning. He's been spotted a 2-run lead early. Well, the numbers for Marwin Gonzalez against the Mariners, he has not been kind, to say the least. Still 1-2.
No surprise, Marco throwing a lot of strikes. 17 pitches, 14 strikes. First pitch strike to all 5 batters.
Gonzalez swinging a hot bat this month as he steps out. Marco's 1-2. And a rare pitch that misses. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tough times recently for A.J. Hinch of the Astros. They're trying to get healthy. And even when they have Altuve back, Springer unable to play these 3 games. They are still without Brian McCann, who had his knee scoped. They are still without Stavinsky in their bullpen, one of the most lethal relievers not to pitch in the 9th inning, at least on a regular basis.
You see they've struggled lately last 10 days. That batting average at 225. They are starting to get healthy. Altuve back from the DL yesterday. Correa had really been struggling until yesterday, where he ended up getting a couple of hits.
The 2-2 puts him away. Couple of strikeouts for Marco Gonzalez. A little frustrated. 2 runs crossed for the Astros in the top of the 1st. We go to the home half. The Mariners looking to ride one of the hottest leadoff hitters in baseball right now, Mitch Haniger.
Mitch Haniger over the last 21 games at .349 hitter. Nelson Cruz, the cleanup hitter, back in the lineup, was not in the lineup yesterday and did pinch hit late in the ball game, but starting the DH, batting cleanup, and D. Gordon will round out the 9 for the Mariners. Charlie Morton on the year, 12-3 record, a 2.78 ERA. Opponents hitting just .210 against him. He has 175 strikeouts and 142 1/3. And the defense. Tony Kemp will get the start in center field against Springer, out with a quad injury. Jose Altuve at second base, and Martin Maldonado, strong throwing arm, will do the catching this afternoon.
First pitch strike to Haniger to begin things.
Charlie Morton, his average fastball 96 miles an hour. Best pitch is his curveball. Opponents hitting just 138 on the curveball. He will mix in a cutter and changeup. 7th in the American League in strikeouts with 175.
Prieto skipping some rope over there at first base. Mike, how do you approach this? Because we were talking about this last night. I believe it was with Osuna and his rare changeup. I mean, for Morton, right, he is almost exclusively fastball, curveball, the rare cutter, the rare changeup, and the two pitches that he does throw the most are incredibly deadly. How do you balance all four of those?
Well, I think that for myself, you mentioned the cutter and the changeup. Will he mix them in? Yes. But it's a very low percentage. His changeup and cutter, he'll throw both of them about 6%. So I think you have to eliminate that. If he throws you a changeup or a cutter, and he's able to locate it for a strike, especially when you have 2 strikes, I think you tip your hat and you walk back to the dugout. Now you're down to 2 pitches, which are plus pitches with his fastball at 96 miles an hour. At times he will touch 100. But then for me, I think you just have to stay on his fastball because that's the cut. That right there is the curveball, and it's just so difficult to handle that pitch. Nobody has. The league's hitting 138 against the curveball. So for me, I think that you have to sell out on the fastball early in the count if you can. But it is a plus fastball.
And we know that well by now. They put the shift almost on here for Robbie. StatCast AI powered by AWS. That's funny when we track shifts, by the way, or when we at least acknowledge or note the shift. It doesn't even count the times where you see a defense, an infield shading heavily to one side. If you don't consider a shift until there are 3 on one side of the bag at second as Correa cuts across. And from second base, tires Cano. Quickly 2 outs for Segura. Gene has his average up to 316 now. Calls for time right away. Segura last night another multi-hit game. A couple of base hits early last night for Gene. Looks at that fastball whistling in for strike 1. They played Gene straight up, but he's behind 0-2. They appeal. He does not go on the curve. Martin Maldonado doing the catching today, one of the best in the league. For years, Jonathan Lucroy's backup in Milwaukee. Gold Glove winner last year with the Angels, traded over to the Astros.
You have to be careful on the bases with him behind the plate. Just trying to steal, but he will throw behind runners, also trying to pick them off. Careful on that secondary lead.
Bregman over to first base, and the side retired in order. A strikeout and a couple of ground ball outs. We played an inning. 2-0 Astros. some big news. Earlier today, the Mariners released their 2019 regular season schedule with games against the Cubs, the Cardinals, the Yankees, and much more. So check out the entire lineup at mariners.com/2019 schedule. And while you're there, register for Mariners Mail, which gives you access to exclusive pre-sales. We'll be talking about that schedule throughout the course of today. Gurriel leads it off. Deep slice out to Gamble to the gap. Gamble chasing after it, and bad full extension, can't make the catch. Gurriel stands up at second.
Ben was playing straight up in the outfield. This is towards the gap. He has it, trying to secure it with two hands, but then the left hand trying to brace himself as he hits the ground, and that's when the ball slides out at the end of the glove. Almost a great catch. He even turned his wrist over a little bit, so hopefully he's okay. It appears that he is.
Goes down as a double for Gurriel. So right away, runner in scoring position for Reddick. Deep, playing deep at second.
Reddick with a home run last night. It was in the 4th inning. Solo home run, his 13th on the year.
Today, the Mariners are trying to break a lengthy streak. They have lost 7 consecutive series at home against the Astros. First winning game 1. Cano with the big 3-run 8th inning homer. Mariners falling last night in game 2. Chance for a series win today. Chopper. Segura cuts it off. 360 on to first in time to get Reddick at first. Not an easy play. Gurriel into third.
For Segura, see him spin around and then throws a strike. Pretty good fastball to first. Barely getting ready.
Now, Mike, in the big leagues, does the tie go to the runner, or is that just in the backyard?
Never a tie. Never a tie.
Especially at what, 1,000 frames per second.
So I would, yes, exactly. So I would say the backyard is fine for the tie. That would go to the runner.
This pitch in play. Segura can't get there under his glove. He was there, missed it. Gurriel scores. Maldonado is at first. It's a base hit.
Gurriel was moving on contact, so even if Gene is able to make the play, he was going to score. Right off the end of his glove. So Segura with some tough chances early. Backhanded play. We just saw the one play where he was able to get the runner, and that was just out of his reach.
Ball went to Kemp, the number 9 hitter. Kemp has been a pretty pesky number 9 hitter the last couple of nights against the Mariners. Last night on base twice. A walk, a single, a run scored. Walked and scored in game 1 of the series.
You can see he's struggled in his last 10 games, but you're right, Aaron. Back in Houston, he really played well. working himself into the lineup on a daily basis.
Span a long run, foul ball. Kim continuing to benefit with George Springer unable to play. Well, the Rangers helping the Mariners out. Joey Gallo going deep, a solo home run, helping to add to a 3-0 Rangers lead in Oakland. That game starting about a half hour before ours. Right there, ruled ball 2. Maldonado, the RBI single at first, 3-0 Astros. Now full count. And outfitter Bregman on deck. Well, the Mariners will see the Astros just one more time once this series is over with. Of course, the Mariners will be in Oakland for 4 games to finish the next road trip. It'll be an enormous series in the Bay Area. Soft little loop, dying quickly, and it finds grass for a base hit.
Already 5 hits for Houston. Stottlemyre making a trip out to the bat.
Mike, when you look at that 4-game series coming up for the Mariners, really you're kind of honing in on where the Mariners want to be when those 4 games start against the A's. Right? You want to be in position.
You and I were talking about that before the game, and that's why all these games leading up to it are going to be important. To have this one today with Houston, and then as far as Houston goes, you're 4.5 back. It's an important game because you're only going to have 3 left with Houston after today. So you'd like to make that 3.5 if you can. But then you go into Arizona with 3, a couple games with San Diego. So when you show up to Oakland knowing that you're going to have those 4 games, you want to be able to have at least have the opportunity to leave town with the lead over them. So you're right there right now. So it will be important to watch them play, the Mariners play over the next 6 games before they get to Oakland, and what that opportunity is going to look like.
1 out, 2 on. Bregman at the plate. Looks at strike 1. We were talking earlier in the first inning about all the double plays by the Astros that they bounced into last night. Marco's had 22 double plays turned behind him this year, tied for the major league lead with Mike Leake.
I think one of the reasons why it's a little bit different, we were talking about Charlie Morton and eliminating pitches and knowing that his 2 best pitches are plus pitches. With Marco, it's impossible to eliminate pitches from him because he uses all of them above 20%. His changeup, curve, cutter, fastball. So I think for a hitter, it keeps you off balance, and that's the reason why he's able to get so many ground balls for the double play.
Soft pop up, Haniger in center. 2 outs. Well, a reminder as always, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. Astros leading early. 2 outs, runners at first and second for Houston. Here is Altuve. First chance for Robbie at third base, and he won't even have to use the arm. The tag on Maldonado, and ends the top of the second. We go to the home half. We'll be seeing Nelly Cruz and Denard Span, first baseman Ryan Healy to follow. And streetcars. Learn more at getorcasmart.com. It's nice to be inside Safeco Field for some day baseball, especially in the middle of the week. Mariners and Astros wrapping up the series. Astros an early 3-0 lead. Nelson Cruz leads off the home second. On a line to Correa. Power now number 1.
The second pitch to Nelson, down in the zone, trying to throw a fastball in on his hands, but he's able to get the barrel to it. Fortunately, right at the shortstop.
One quick out for Denard Span. Now we saw this I guess defensive alignment yesterday, Mike, for the Astros when Span is hitting. It struck me as a little unique. What do you make of this?
Well, if he hits the ball in the air, they certainly think he's going the other way. Only Kemp, the center fielder, left center. So a huge gap in right center for him.
Bregman's moving back. He was into the grass halfway between second and third earlier.
One of the things that we've seen also when we talk about shifting in the third baseman, they a lot of times with the left-handed hitter they will play in because of the bunt. It seemed that almost always when they had that first strike they would move back into the position that they're in now. But now more and more we're seeing them wait until they have 2 strikes on the bat.
The 1-2.
Since joining the Mariners, the things that we've learned about Denard Span is he is a selective hitter.
And fills a very good role with this team as a result of that. Easy play for Kemp in center field. Now number 2. How about these numbers for Charlie Morton? Let's take a look at his numbers with the Astros. This is second year, 25 starts, a 3.62 earned run average. Of course, even better just this year. How about the numbers with the Pirates, Mike? ERA over 4.25, nearly 125 starts, and the opposing average is a huge swing.
Yeah, I was reading some quotes that Charlie had made about the differences, and it's with his fastball. You look at his fastball on average 96 to 98. He was a sinker baller, trying to keep the ball on the ground, using a slider a little bit more. Now it's more of a cutter, and then he has that great curveball. But now he just turning it loose. On the other side of it, we've seen Garrett Cole, who also 95 plus with his fastball, but they were able to get him to use his breaking ball more than just throwing his fastball when he was with Pittsburgh.
The 0-1 to Healy. Well, you look at the data on pitch effects for Morton when he was in Pittsburgh, and he was a sinker baller 50% of the time he threw that 2-seamer, on average 92 miles an hour. This year, of course, more 4-seam fastballs than ever before. Average miles per hour nearly 97. When his 4-seamer was 5 miles an hour slower in Pittsburgh. The curveball's always been great for him. Velocity has stayed put on that. The opposing average numbers are almost identical. But A.J. Hinch even tells the story when they first saw him in spring training last year, year number 1 for the Astros. They couldn't believe the readings on the radar gun. This gets past Gurriel. First hit today for the Mariners. Healy aboard.
Ryan, good night for him last night. Had a couple of hits, 2 for 4 last night. Primera Supermo going the other way on a fastball away from him. Gurriel, the first baseman, not able to get to it. So another base hit for Healy.
I'll be interested to see what the winter holds for Charlie Morton, though, Mike. He's turns 35 years old this winter. Be a free agent at the end of the season, a 2-year deal to come to Houston. Say the Astros made a good signing there, to say the least. And this, remember, is coming off a year prior to his first season with the Astros, where he barely pitched at all. He was with the Phillies. He made 4 starts, had a severe hamstring injury that cost him the rest of the season. He threw fewer than 20 innings. Astros took a big chance on him, a pretty lucrative 2-year deal.
An all-star for the first time this year. I don't think he's going to be out there for very long. Look at, you just mentioned the numbers. You know, fastball in the upper 90s with that curveball and an ERA at a 2.7.
Coming off a career year. An appeal to third. Gamble does not go for his 3-ball count of the afternoon.
Ben is 2 for 7 with a home run against Morton.
Takes a strike. Back to the glove of Maldonado, full count. And you can see the breaking ball numbers. That curveball has been untouchable at times this year. Zunino on deck. Shift on for Gamble with 2 outs and a full count. Healy on his way back to first. Another foul ball. Then putting up a fight here. Next pitch will be number 8.
Ben with a base hit and an RBI last night's game.
Gamble able to draw a 2-out walk. A plate appearance. And on a very close pitch.
Tough curveball. Borderline. Another good at bat from Ben.
Two outs, 2 aboard for Zunino. He is the tying run at the plate. Now the splits this year for Morton are essentially identical. You would figure that right-handers wouldn't have much luck against him, but 209 to righties, 210 to lefties, 7 home runs to either side of the plate.
I'd say 209 is not much luck, right?
Not much going on there. Shift is on for Zunino. 2 outs. Ball and a strike. Chop foul.
Last pitch is the pitch that Mike really wanted to put into play. It was a 94-mile-an-hour fastball in the middle of the plate.
The 1-2. Bends in, strike 3 called. Boy, that is a vicious pitch. That's filthy. 2 are left. The curveball to Zunino.
So difficult as a hitter. It looks like the ball is thrown right at you. It freezes you just for a moment, but that is enough to lock you up. Catches the inside corner. He wanted the pitch away, which is difficult.
Have fun with that. On to the third. 3-0 Astros. Carlos Correa leads it off. Mike now having a conversation.
No, he's not happy about it at all. He was just rung up on a pitch that he thought was a ball, and he wants a pitch that is similar for his guy.
Here's that last pitch, borderline ruled a ball.
Borderline away, and again, Mike felt that the pitch that he was rung up on was also a ball, and not happy about it. You can see with the way that he's thrown the ball back, and now talking to the home plate umpire. Give the umpire credit, though. Mike standing up and turning around and giving him a piece of his mind, and he's still in the ball game. I think says a lot.
Over to right field, and the gap. Haniger is there for number 1.
So many times in today's game, anyway, that's an automatic.
I think that it deals with this kind of the line of credit that Mike has built up with umpires. Would you point that to something in particular other than? I don't know.
It's hard to say. There's probably something to that. Umpires, I think the one thing that you have to understand is how competitive this game is, and there is a certain amount of frustration that happens at times because it's such a hard game to play. And if you understand that, I think you're willing to listen to a little bit, and he certainly did right there, which again in today's game is rare. Typically the umpires are pretty quick, especially if you turn around and face them. And maybe he thought that Mike had a reason to argue with him a little bit.
Healy on the chase, angling over. He's able to make the catch. What a play by Healy.
A really good play by Ryan. Primero Supermo reaching back over his shoulder. The ball was slicing towards the stands, but typically in these ballparks, it will go back towards the field of play, so he has to make an adjustment. Catch. He's happy that he was able to make the catch.
Gonzalez showing bunt, looking at a strike.
You see him ranging over. Now the ball starts to head back towards the field and making an adjustment.
You know, the backfields of Peoria, Mike, were a long time ago, but that's kind of what that looks like, isn't it?
They do a lot of that.
0-2.
You still, though, most of the time when you're back working on those things, they will use a pitching machine and you know, shoot the ball in the air and do all that. But the difference is on those fields, just like in the minor league fields, the ball will go where you think it's going to go. Most of the time in these big ballparks with the stands, the way the wind blows and kind of swirls around, typically it will take the ball back towards the field of play. And that's the reason why you saw him make that adjustment right there.
Still nothing to do tomorrow, and Gonzalez with 2 outs and nobody on. Marco was able to strike out Gonzalez to end the first. Marco, the most decorated player ever out of Gonzaga. All-American there. Tying him up. Boy, a pair of handcuffs for Marwin Gonzalez. And for Marco Gonzalez, his first 1-2-3 inning. Well, Sunday, September 9th is Boeing Salute to Kids Day when the Mariners take on the Yankees at 1:10. As part of the fun, all kids 14 and under will score Mariners growth chart featuring teammates James Paxton. So get your tickets for the whole family at mariners.com. D. Gordon out for Fiss. A lollipop in a shallow right field. Altuve there for round number 1.
This will be the second time through the lineup for the Mariners. Haniger walks to the plate.
Now Morton has had some quick outs. When you look at throwing 3 pitches or fewer, 4 pitches or fewer to get an out. Shift on for Haniger. Count evens up. I wonder, Mike, for Haniger, obviously an all-star for the first time this year. I wonder how many days or maybe even weeks he needed just to kind of catch his breath and recover from All-Star weekend.
Well, I definitely think that there was something to that. We've talked a lot about the month of July and some of his struggles. Did much better this month. But I think that when you consider how much he has played at this level, what has been asked of him as far as hitting 3rd and 4th in the lineup, there's a lot of pressure involved in those situations. Having to play center field from time to time, basically playing every day. I think that, and instead of having that break, the All-Star break, the 4 days to relax, ease your mind, all of a sudden there's all this chaos with it. For one, you're busy because you want to see and do everything. It's his first time there. Then you have the game and all the other stuff. So you really didn't get a break. I think after something like that, especially when you've done it for the first time, there's going to be some wear and tear on the body and the mind. And the difficult thing at this level, because you play every day, you don't even realize it. You know, you wake up some days, you may be sore, you can feel that, but as far as being tired, whether it's mentally or physically just tired, just try to fight your way through it. And fortunately, been able to catch his 2nd win and been much better this month.
Well, and also he knows as well as anyone that his value to this team, his importance of being in there every day, the option of saying I need a day, well, isn't really there.
It isn't there. And then the other part about it too is even when they have games where maybe the games are out of hand one way or the other, and Scott is going to take some guys out of the game early, typically it's going to be 1 or 2 of the veteran guys, because the bench has been so short this year. They've only had 3 guys on the bench. Typically you're going to have somebody in case something happens, and the other 2 go in will be for more of the veteran guys. And so he's still in the game. So even on those days when maybe there's a chance for him to be out of the game for 3 or 4 innings, it's not available to him.
Two still on Ravi. 2 outs, nobody on, bottom of the 3rd. Well, for Morton, that is his 3rd strikeout of the 2nd time he's retired the sign in order. Only the second time this year for Marco Gonzalez facing the Astros, the first time since April.
Hopefully he is settling into this game, a 1-2-3 third inning for him after giving up 3 runs through the first 2. Throwing a lot of strikes this afternoon. 47 pitches, 35 strikes.
First pitch strike. Buried in there to Yuli Gurriel. To left and dropping in. Boy, we've seen a number of those so far today. Not exactly hard contact, but they result in hits. Gurriel 2 for 2. Well, the Mariners' schedule released today for 2019. The Mariners, of course, beginning the series in Tokyo, the season rather in Tokyo, the opening series against the A's. Mariners will be opening things up March the 28th here at Safeco Field against the Red Sox, and then it might be a little chilly as the Mariners will go to the road for the first time April the 4th out of Chicago and then to Kansas City. Mariners were there early this year. Reddick out to the gap, left center. Haniger can't get there in time. One hops to him.
And back-to-back hits off the end of the bat. Cutter running away from him again off the end of the bat. Haniger was playing out in right center field, not able to get to it.
Two on, nobody out for Maldonado, the catcher. Good strike. Maldonado an RBI single his last time up. Time call. Chance for 2 here. Gurriel at second base, Reddick at first. Maldonado not the most fleet of foot. Impressed as I was with Dan the Man and the effort on the foul ball in the booth last night. Lunging forward.
I was more concerned for him.
I did notice you hooking his back belt loop with your finger.
Not a good idea, Dan.
The 0-2. You know, Daddy didn't know, or maybe he did, and he's just braver than most. We have a metal grate that's angled in front of us. When that ball hits that grate, man, it's anybody's guess. It knuckles any which way.
Well, it can go anywhere. Ended up in my back. But
and it wasn't as if you weren't trying to avoid that.
You were laughing harder last night about it, I guess.
I was in back of the booth with all the electronics. Inside.
Cutter inside, see if he can come back with a changeup down and away. Trying to get him to hit it on the ground, get a double play.
Down the line, slicing, fair ball. Gurriel making the turn past third. He scores. Reddick held at third base. 3 straight hits to open up the top of the 4th. Maldonado has driven in 2 now this afternoon. 4-0 Astros. They've scored in 3 of the first 4 innings.
And it's going to be on the fastball. And probably belt high in the middle of the plate. Inside out swing. Mariners will bring their infield in.
Strike one to Tony Kemp. Up the middle. Umpire's got to watch out. Reddick comes across to score. Maldonado pushes into third. That's 4 straight base hits to begin the 4th inning for the Astros, who now lead 5-0. Tony Kemp 2 for 2 from the number 9 spot.
Goes right back up the middle. Again, another pitch in the middle of the plate. It's down right at the knees. But for Marco, just missing his location. A visit from Mel Stottlemyre.
I mean, how do you judge this so far, Mike? I mean, you see the first pitch strikes, 15 of 18. You wouldn't think that this is a situation of Marco not being sharp because of the extra days down. That's not to say he hasn't missed his location at times today. But I mean, how do you judge this? Because we know for Marco, this is something he has not done before, starting with this much rest.
I think, again, it has a lot to do with location. One, you have Houston. We talked about it before the game even started, just how aggressive they have been this year. In the last series when the Mariners ended up winning all 4, and in this series. And so the quality of your strikes early in the count are a big deal. They're able to get a breaking ball, and you'll see that from time to time too with the pitchers. Is a team that's aggressive, they'll throw their breaking ball a little bit more early in the count, or use this changeup just to try to slow them down a little, because typically they're going to go up there aggressive on the fastball. And we mentioned it, a number of the hits in this inning, the first 2 hits off the end of the bat, and then he makes a mistake in the middle of the plate. Maldonado hits the other way to drive in a run and put him in a tough situation. So some of it is location, and some of it is just the luck of the game.
Yeah, there have been some really soft singles in this one.
Exactly.
And you just saw Bregman has been one of the best so far this year with runners in scoring position. Bats here with Maldonado at third. He's got Kemp at first. Still nobody out. Time call right as Mark was about to come home. Into center field with eyes. Maldonado scores. Kemp is turning quickly and sliding to third base. 5 straight hits to open up the 4th inning.
And that's another example of the 2 things that we were talking about this time. One, the ball is not hit firmly at all. It's just a ground ball, a seeing eye ground ball back up the middle. But also 0-2. He's trying to bury this curveball down out of the strike zone. And it is on the outside corner, but it's left up in the zone. And that's the reason why he was able to hit it. So a couple of things happening in that at bat, which is really what has been happening in this inning.
Nick Rumbelow, who was just recalled today, beginning to warm up. It's been back and forth a couple of times. Altuve punches this to left field, base hit. Kemp scores easily. Meanwhile, Bregman motors into third base. And it just continues for the Astros in the 4th inning. 6 consecutive hits to open up the frame, and they now lead 7-0. And that what Marco Gonzalez was hoping to see today. They've got a pitch and change. Inside Safeco Field, all Astros today. 7-0 top of the fourth. They have chased Marco Gonzalez out after 3+.
And a tough afternoon for Marco. 3 innings, 11 hits, 7 runs, all of them earned. He is responsible for the 2 base runners. Didn't walk anybody, 3 strikeouts, 61 pitches, 48 strikes.
Our Beacon Plumbing call of the pen earlier than Scott Service would have liked. Nick Rumblo is on the pitch.
A fastball in the low 90s. 8 appearances this year, 7.84 ERA, and 10 1/3. He has 8 strikeouts, a couple of walks. Only hitting .333 against Nick.
Six consecutive base hits to open up the fourth for the Astros. 4 runs are in.
First and third, nobody out. And Nick will pitch to the middle of the lineup.
His first pitch on the way to Correa. Rumblo, former LSU Tiger, former teammates in college with that man, Alex Bregman, number 2 overall draft pick out of LSU. Good breaking ball. Altuve at first, Bregman at third. Haniger drifting back, plenty deep. Bregman tags, and he scores the 8th run of the afternoon for the Astros. March needed out number 1 here in the 4th. Altuve stays put, 1 down. For Tyler White, the 8th batter of the inning.
So he had a triple in his first at bat. It was the center field, hit the middle of the fence. Mitch Haniger slipped on the warning track.
Smoke foul down the left field line. Rumblo had 1 and 2. Well, the Mariners an off day tomorrow, and then a 3-city road trip beginning. 2 of those ballparks, National League ballparks, taking on an Arizona team on Friday that is right now in first place in the West. The Dodgers, although they played very well here, it seemed like in some ways they are really struggling. They're 7 games over 500. Dodgers in 3rd place in the division. The Rockies in 2nd place of the National League West, but the Mariners taking on the top team in that division for a 3-game weekend set. Seen a lot of that so far today. White is aboard. He splits the left side. Altuve pushes into second base. How about our CenturyLink What's Next? Take a look at what the Mariners will be looking at. Will not be easy on Sunday against Zach Greinke. Godley and Ray before that, Friday and Saturday. There's Paul Goldschmidt and company there with the Diamondbacks as well.
hitter's ballpark, so hopefully the Mariners offensively get things turned around.
I'm disappointed that Jake Lamb done for the season. Had to have shoulder surgery, I believe. Gosh, at this point, weeks ago. So UW product.
Good player.
Really good player.
Yeah.
Third baseman. 2 on 1 down for Marwin Gonzalez. Lobs it out to right field. Gamble has his eyes set on it. On number 2, runners stay put. Astros bat around here in the 4th. Gurriel led off the inning with a single. We'll bat here with 2 outs and 2 on. Robbie has had a couple of chances at third base and hasn't had to do a whole lot. Tagged the runner earlier, his steps on the bag this time, and the inning is finally over. This man, Charlie Morton, an all-star this year for the first time in his career.
Now an early lead for him, and he has a terrific curveball. It's been a good pitch for him all year long. Again, hitters hitting just 136 on the curveball. His fastball has been 96 to 98 miles an hour. For the Mariners, a lot of work to do.
Look at Morton recently on the road. His last 5 starts away from Minute Maid Park, he has a 1.76 earned run average. In that span, you start talking about starting pitchers not just in the American League but in baseball with a lower road ERA since the start of July. Carlos Carrasco, familiar with him with the Indians. Aaron Nola, we saw him a couple of years ago having a really breakout season. That terrific curveball, former first-round draft pick with the Phillies. And a guy we just saw, Clayton Kershaw. I mean, that's it. Those are the guys who've been better on the road since the start of July than this man, Charlie Morton.
Unfortunately for the Mariners, Charlie likes the mound here at Safeco Field. He's 2-0 with a 1.38 ERA this year.
Segura leads it off for the Mariners in the home 4th. Rush back for ball 1. Soft chopper, tiptoeing foul. One ball and 1 strike to Gene. Cruz and Span to follow. boy, high chop off the plate. Foul ball. 1-2. All right, all right.
There you go.
Cute enough. You can have a ball.
Yeah. Made his day.
Really did.
Gene in his first at bat, we were talking about it, taking a couple of fastballs for strikes. This time around being more aggressive on the fastball. Hasn't been able to put it in play yet.
Gene trotting down to first base as he gets away from Maldonado, but he completes the strikeout. Well, 2019 season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss any of the action of next season by making your deposit today. You'll also be eligible for postseason priority as the Mariners continue their quest to October. For details and prices, visit mariners.com.
Nelson Cruz hit the ball hard his first time up. Unfortunately, the line drive was right at the shortstop for an out.
There's that curveball bending in for a strike. And we just saw it with Gene, and we've seen it with other hitters so far today against Morton. Mike, 2 strikes is not where you want to be. As the 0-1 comes into Nelly. He muscles this, crushed out to left. The Mariners are on the board up to the second deck. Number 31 for Nelson Cruz.
He is going to get a cutter at 86 miles an hour. Middle of the plate. Hits it into the upper deck. Mentioned at the beginning of the game for Morton, he typically stays fastball, curveball, but this is a cutter at 86. Exit velo of 108.
Where Nelly stacks up with active home run leaders. Edwin Encarnacion just activated today from the disabled list by the Indians. Nelly, though, you look at the last decade, he leads all major league hitters in home runs. Two 2-0 now. One out, a run in, span to the plate, 2-0. Like, as you watch Nelson, you think back to your playing days. Now let's take out the superhuman strength of Nelson Cruz, right? When you watch him swing a bat, what is it that you say, man, I wish that part of his swing, whatever it might be, I wish I could have done, but it just seems like it would be impossible. Right? Because there's got to be elements there.
Well, the biggest part of it is you said it right at the beginning, and I'm not allowed.
You can't go with the strength.
I can't go with the strength.
Ground ball to Altuve. Pretty quiet day defensively so far.
I think a couple of things. You see that open stance that he has, but I think when he's swinging the bat well, the barrel stays in the hitting area for a long time. That's the reason why not only hit for power, but he hits for an average. But he stays in his lower half. He uses his legs really well, and it's why at times we've seen him when he's had leg injuries, we've seen him struggle a little bit and not hit the ball out. But when he's healthy, he stays in his base about as well as anybody.
Is that a hard thing to do?
It's hard to consistently do it. I think the tendency for a lot of hitters is especially in today's game, because they get so many high fastballs on the breaking balls, tendency is to stand up, get on your toes, if you will, pull off the ball a little bit more, and that's more with your shoulder, but it starts with your hips, and he rarely does that.
2-0 on Healy.
Especially when you see so many guys that are power hitters. That's the tendency, right? They want to pull everything and hit the ball into the seats, whether it's left-handed or right-handed, and you get into some bad habits doing that, and you're not going to be as consistent. But for somebody that hits with the type of power that he does, he is really consistent. That's the reason why he hits for an average.
It always amazes me how quiet his swing is. No leg, forget a leg kick. I mean, the leg doesn't even move.
Some guys don't need a leg kick. I would say Nelson qualifies, but his balance is so good, and that's the reason why it looks as if there's very little effort. But trust me, the barrel is going through the hitting area with some bat speed, no question.
3-2 now. I mean, you're right, though. You look at some of the power hitters, right? Giancarlo Stanton, his front foot doesn't even leave the ground. I mean, truly. But Chris Carter, remember him, former Astro, Brewer, 40 home run guy. Well, he had no stride at all with enormous power. Still a full count. I'm trying to, in my mind, picture Chris Davis as in the A's Chris Davis, because he's not built like any of those guys, obviously. It's a pretty upright stance.
Very upright, narrow with his feet. Uppercut swing.
You don't say. Strike 3 call. Healy thinking ball 4. Well, the home run from Nelson Cruz, number 31 of the season. It's the Mariners on the board against Ford. It's still a long way to go. One Astros. Now change defensively for the Mariners. As Andrew Romine has come off the bench, and now it's shortstop for Gene Segura. Wait to hear some kind of update from the clubhouse. So what might have prompted that change? Rumbelow ahead of Reddick 0-2.
Segura, after his second swing, it seemed that he was kind of pointing to his ribs a little bit. By the way, Aaron, Chris Davis, he just kind of glides to the ball, not a leg kick for Chris Davis.
Like a glide to the ball?
Yeah. In other words, we were talking about the upright stance that he has. He just basically barely picks his foot up, and then he just kind of glides out towards the mound with his foot.
What were you doing during the commercial? Were you digging through the video here?
I was trying to remember and think about his swing, and you and I were both struggling with it. So I figured maybe go talk to a pitcher. So I went and asked Ryan Rowland Smith.
All right.
And Ryan said no leg kick for him.
Shift on for Reddick, the 1-2 in towards the shift. Easy play for D. 1 down. Here comes Maldonado. He's had a good day so far. Driven in a pair. Also scored a run, a single and a double.
Were you a high leg kick guy?
The leg kick, I don't think that was a thing in Little League. Now
that is true, and I bet you'll watch some of the Little League games now. You'll see it all the time because there's so many big leaguers that do it. And those guys are always watching.
It was funny because it was a while ago at this point, maybe early in the season, very early in the season. Josh Donaldson was in MLB Network studio headquarters and did a full hitting demo with the tee, maybe with DeRosa, one of those guys. And he looked right at the camera, and this is a loose quote, but I think in so many words, he talked to all the kids out there and he said, kids, if you're hitting the ball on the ground, you're doing it wrong. Which, I mean, far be it from me to say what Josh Donaldson says is right or wrong, but I would kind of think, Mike, that for some people hitting the ball on the ground, like for D. Gordon, that's not the worst idea in the world. I mean, some guys can very well use their speed to get on base and hit the ball on the ground. Am I wrong on this?
I would probably, if we're talking to kids, I would encourage them to hit the ball. I wouldn't worry about launch angle at this point.
I mean, not everybody's cut from the same cloth. Yeah, let's just make some contact.
Yeah.
But to your point, I mean, I would imagine that if you're
but you're right there, every player has their own skill set, right? And for Josh, a tremendous player and
MVP
and hits a lot of home runs, and that's what he gets paid to do. But I think that you're right with somebody like D. His job is obviously with his speed is to put the ball in play, and he is aware of that, and that's the way he plays the game.
One out, nobody on, a full count to Maldonado. A mile high into the corner, span, running out of room at the wall, gone. Skyscraping home run for Martin Maldonado. For the second time in less than a week is a hit shy of the cycle.
Was it a double that he did the other day in Oakland? I think it was a double.
It was a single shot.
Single. Well, this is a towering fly ball out to left field. Everything inside to him, and he cheats a little bit, able to get the barrel to it. Just clears the fence. His third home run of the year.
Strike one to Kemp. So the Astros get that run right back. Still nothing in 2. Now the Astros had scored their first 8 runs without a homer. They scored 5 runs in the 4th. They tied a season best with 7 hits in that inning. They have chased Marco Gonzalez from this game after just 3 frames. Tagged with all 8 runs on 11 hits, no walks and 3 strikeouts. Rumbelow just recalled today working in some longer relief. Drops in again in front of Span. Boy, how many times? This is just a copy and paste of about five previous at bats we've seen from the Astros. Camp now 3 for 3 from the number 9 spot. Make your voice heard. Nominate your favorite plays of the week by tweeting us using the hashtag RootFanFave. Watch the Mariners pregame show every Sunday to find out your fan favorite plays of the week. Plus, each month, one lucky fan will win a Coors Light Yeti cooler just for participating. For official rules, visit rootsports.com. Mike, you would think maybe, man, the Astros are just on everything, but so many of these hits we're seeing off the end of the bat.
Sometimes it's just your day, and if they put the ball in play, it looks like it has a chance to be a base hit, even if it's on the ground. And again, for them, obviously a talented group winning the World Series last year, but they're also very aggressive, and they're trying to put the ball in play. And today's one of those days where they're finding a lot of outfield grass.
Rebel facing his former college teammate at LSU, Alex Bregman. .24 home runs this year for Bregman. Good speed at first base for the Astros.
Thinking about that, Aaron, is today and talking about Houston and how aggressive they are and putting the ball in play and picking up these base hits. In today's game, you look at the amount of strikeouts in this game. I wonder, as the game continues to change, if they'll start to place more value on putting the ball in play as opposed to the strikeouts and hitting the ball out of the ballpark. And what you were talking about with Donaldson, hitting the ball in the air, and the way the game is played primarily today.
Seems like it's all cyclical to some degree, isn't it?
It does, yeah. But somebody has to place a value on it, right? And encourage the players to play it a certain way. We've heard it a lot before the Mariners. A lot of it is controlling the strike zone, whether you're at the plate or pitching. Good pitch right there. It looked like a strike on the inside corner. Did not get the call. Altuve with a base hit. His last time up, a line drive into left center field. It was on the first pitch fastball.
1 out, 2 on. And play to Romine, the new shortstop for the Mariners. D on to first. Healy using the bag as a ladder, gets up in the air, calls it in. Double play ends the inning. League history. We turn the clock back to 1989. Nolan Ryan strikes out Ricky Henderson for his 5,000th career strikeout. It's pretty remarkable. You look at the numbers over the course of the career for Nolan Ryan. He has more strikeouts than any other pitcher in the history of the game. He has more no-hitters than any pitcher ever in the history of the game. He never won a Cy Young. He finished second once. That's as close as he got. Also had a dozen one-hitters, along with the 7 no-nos.
He finished second only once.
One time. Pitched for nearly 30 years.
Set a lot of records.
I mean, if somebody asked you how many Cy Youngs did Nolan Ryan won, don't you think most people would say, well, it's got to be more than one, right?
I would have guessed 2.
Yeah. Gamble behind.
Ben walked his first time out.
Nolan, by the way, the year that he finished second to Jim Palmer of the Orioles. That was in '73. An appeal on the check swing. He does not go.
What were his numbers that year?
I'll tell you, Mike. He had a 2.40 earned run average. He had 19 complete games. Ryan had 26, by the way. Palmer, now you got to keep in mind, and for people who are wanting me to drop ERA plus whip and FIP on him right now, okay, this was a different era in terms of criteria for the Cy Young, right, to say the least.
Palmer with a very good curveball.
I mean, Nolan, Gamble gets it rung up, curveball just above the knees. Palmer that year threw 296 innings, and that wasn't even particularly close to the total that Nolan Ryan threw. 326 for 300 innings for Ryan. Let me see that again.
How about strikeouts?
Let's get right to that.
Yes.
Oh, the strikeout, it's a joke. I mean, it really is. It's pretty laughable. Jim Palmer, 158 punch outs. Nolan Ryan, 383.
383 strikeouts.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out exactly why Palmer won. I mean, it'll lower your ERA. I guess on the surface level, if that means everything to you. 2 outs. Danino into foul ground.
What about your favorite? How about the wins for each of them?
You're right, Mike. My tried and true. Palmer 22-9. Now here it is. Ryan 21 wins, 16 losses. Boy, he was bad, Mike. He lost 16 games. He did. He lost 16 games. I mean, I guess Palmer's ERA, which was better by not quite half a run, and the fact that he didn't lose, he lost 7 games fewer. In those days, Mike, that's all that counted. Two outs, nobody aboard for D. Gordon. Slap down the line and foul.
Now with 26 complete games, does that change your thinking at all?
Oh, on the wins and losses?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's okay. That's a very fair point. Because sometimes you mention wins just to upset me. I know
that. I do.
It was definitely a different era in terms of the value of the wins.
I would agree.
Because they're actually pitching the whole game.
I would agree.
So it is important. Bring up a great point, Mike. When we look at starting pitchers from that era, it's a little bit different in terms of the lens in which we view them, because now they're out there for 9 innings every time. Down back. I mean, I think there was honest to goodness shame involved with the starting pitcher if you left the game after 7 innings?
Yeah. I'll be curious. Your Carlton won half his team's games. How long he was out there.
Yeah.
And that team, they just did not win without him on the mound.
No, you're right. Haniger on deck if D can extend this bottom of the 5th. This is finding possibly no man's land. Altuve, long way to go, and it's dropped. Reddick, the strong throw in at second base. D. Gordon slides in safe. Correa thinks he got him. He's pleading for A.J. Hinch to look at the tape.
Pretty good play to catch it for Correa, but I did not see him apply a tag. Off the glove of Altuve, hits the ground. Pretty good play by Reddick. He's a very good outfielder, has a strong throwing arm, and he reacts to it quickly. The heel of his glove.
Well, they will challenge this. We'll see why.
His hand. Watch his hand. You throw your hands in the air when you're going to slide. He tags him right there. Could not tell if his foot had touched the base yet. I'm not sure that he's secured the baseball yet. This will be an interesting call. He's just trying to make the pick. Unfortunately for D, he ends up touching his glove as he slides by. I don't think his foot is to the base yet, but I'm not sure he has secured the ball either.
Oh, this is a new one, isn't it?
Ball in the back of his glove. It's moving around right there.
We'd think that the ball's not secured till D's past him.
That's what I would think. Don't think I've ever seen this before. Correa's not trying to tag him at all. D's just putting his hand in the air on the slide, and Correa's trying to just catch the baseball. He's able to do that and hold on to it as his glove was hit by the hand of D. Gordon. There we go.
He's safe.
And I don't think he secured it.
Well, it's good because that's the only time I can remember Altuve dropping a ball ever. So it would be a shame if that still resulted in an out. D in scoring position for Haniger. And that pegs him.
Hit him with a curveball.
As slow of a curve as you'll ever see Morton throw. 76.
Obviously just slips out of his hand. Not much break to it at all.
First time the Mariners have had a pair of base runners on since the 2nd. Robbie clocks this past Gurriel. Gordon steaming around. He scores easily. Haniger will be held at third as Cano drives in a run with a double.
Being aggressive. Gurriel never gets a glove on it. Is trying to keep his face out of the way. Probably a good idea. I'm sure you can hit the ball much harder than that. Romine will get his first plate appearance. Against Segura, ended up leaving the game.
Strike one to Romine. Two outs, two in scoring position for the Mariners. For Robbie, now another double. He is tied Ted Williams on the all-time doubles list, has passed Ken Griffey Jr. Recently passed Willie Mays.
What a list.
Tied for 45th all time. And we'll throw down to first base to complete the strikeout and end the inning. Mariners get a run. We played 5. Jumbo Jacks from Jack in the Box. By Money Tree, proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. By CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. And by BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. Astros leading 9-2. Correa leads things off in the 6th. Slicing deep to Gamble on the track. Two-hand squeeze, collision, and a catch.
Great concentration from Ben, using two hands as he typically does. He was real sure where the wall was at. Sort of drifting to his left. Slams his shoulder into the wall.
Brushing back. 2-0 on Tyler White. White's had himself a nice day so far. Pops this up, foul ground. 2-1. Back to Gamble's catch, and this reaction from a young fan. It was going carbs first, it looks like, the hot dog approach, and saving the protein for the end.
Sure, and right back to it.
There we go. Should keep him occupied for a while. 3-1 on the way.
Elias starting to get loose.
And I saw Elias on Sunday against Kershaw. And today, by the way, marked the 8th different starter in 8 games for the Mariners. Oh, what a pick, what a play by Robbie. Cool as ever on to first.
Well, he had a couple of easy chances at the beginning of the game, and this one will test you. You can see the smile on his face. That's all right. Great play. A smash. One hopper right at him.
Robbie is making his major league debut at third base today. He had not played at third since he was in Double-A with Double-A Trenton in the Yankee system in 2004. That got to him at 105 miles an hour off the bat.
Hot corner. Yes, indeed.
0-2. Back to it.
A one-hop smash, and watch him give some ground. Just catches it behind him. And after that, as it usually is, pretty cool. Calm and cool across the diamond.
It's Gonzalez chasing. He whips on 3 pitches. The side retired in order. Save time and money when you use the Link Light Rail to come to your next Mariners game. It's both affordable and convenient with Safeco Field, just 15 minutes from the UW station and 33 from Angle Lake. For more information, visit mariners.com/go. Stadium station just right next door. Short walk away from the ballpark as Nelson Cruz lead things off in the home 6th. And the shift on for Nelly. Second deck home run his last time up.
31 home runs on the year.
And ahead 3-0. Saw Joe Smith last night. He's warming up here. This is sliced on a line out to right center, in for a base hit, short out to the wall. Reddick is there. Nelly slides into second base. Home run now, a double for Nelson Cruz.
It's a pretty good pitch. It's on the outside corner, just above the knees. So a home run. The upper deck to left field. This to right center.
Cruz aboard to begin the bottom of the sixth. Brings up Denard Span.
Let's get the runners home, Roches. That's the point.
Strike one, outside corner. Cracked out to right center field, and drop it and base hit. Cruz into third, held there. Runners on the corner. Span checks in with his first base hit today.
This looks like it's another base hit on the cutter. Off the label, but a base hit.
First and third for the Mariners, nobody out. Ryan Healy, the batter, 1 for 2 today. Ran back quickly. Denard 7 steals and 10 tries. Have cut the Rangers lead at 2. This finds right center. Cruz scores. Span cuts the bag at second. He throttles down to third. Runners on the corner still. Healy drives in a run, his second hit today. 9-3 Astros.
The Mariners scoring a run in the fourth, the fifth, and now in the sixth because of this base hit. 95 miles an hour inside out swing. Healy really staying on the baseball today. A couple of base hits going the other way. Had 2 hits last night.
Let's draw the pitching coach out for a word. Pretty impressive day for Healy, especially when you consider as a right-hander that breaking ball from Morton. This is, you get 2 hits as a right-hander against Charlie Morton, you're feeling awfully good about yourself.
Being aggressive on the fastball early.
Nobody out still. Runners on the corners. There's Gamble. First pitch, curveball strike. Misses to make it a ball and a strike now to Gamble. Pitch count starting to add up for Charlie Morton. And that hits Gamble.
Hit him with a curveball. And A.J. Hinch out of the dugout.
It's his second hit batter. Both have come to the curve, and you said Joe Smith warming up in the bullpen. The bases are loaded. The Mariners making some noise here in the bottom of the sixth. Correa convinced he had the tag on Gordon as his hand swiped the glove, and this play was challenged by the Astros. He was ruled safe, and as we thought, Mike, you can skip right into the third line. Firm and secure possession of the ball while tagging the runner. Correa did not have that, and that's why it stayed as it was originally called, a double.
And I think for Correa, he signaled right away to challenge the play, and you can understand why, because at that moment he's not sure. He knows he tagged him. He wasn't sure whether he was secure with the ball or not. He maybe even assumed that he had. The play happened so quickly. But I think they had the call right.
Now Charlie Morton is done for the afternoon. Mariners chase him in the 6th. His final line.
5+, 7 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, 91 pitches, 59 strikes. He is responsible for the base runners out there.
Zunino the first to face Joe Smith. Kemp drifting back, now picking up some speed in front of the track, fighting the sky, makes the catch. Plenty deep for Span to score. Play at second base. Gamble safe. Pretty aggressive base running Ben Gamble. Everybody moves up a station. Mariners inch a run closer, 9-4.
Mike Zunino will pick up an RBI. Joe Smith, 42 appearances, 3.38 ERA. Opponents hitting just 197 against him.
He's working on back-to-back days. We saw him last night in an inning scoreless.
Fastball slider, average fastball at 88 miles an hour.
He's not that short, huh? He's not that short.
Gamble stepping on Altuve when he slides in there. Altuve a little shaken up. Just fresh off the DL. You might think with the delivery for Smith, of course, you would think he'd be so tough on right-handers. He's actually been really good against lefties too. Lefties are hitting just 194 against Smith.
Well, when you look at the arm angle, he's going to sink the fastball away from him. Probably having a tough time hitting the ball in the air against Smith.
Healy at third, Gamble at second. Just 1 out. Saw flick out to Marwin Gonzalez in left field. Healy's going to try. He's coming down the line. Throw home. Beyond Maldonado. Gamble advances. Meanwhile into third base. Sacrifice fly D. Gordon. Mariners have grabbed 3 runs here in the 6th inning. It's now a 9-5 ball game.
Gamble moving up on the throw. See Gonzalez, as soon as he started to backpedal, that's when Scott Brocious, the third base coach, decided to send Healy.
Here's Haniger. Chop foul. So sac fly in an E7. That allows Gamble to reach third base. Tony Sip getting loose. Shot out, gap left center. Kemp We have got a ball game. Number 20 this year, Mitch Haniger. Within arm's reach. 9-7 Astros.
The start of the game, we've talked about how hot Mitch Haniger has been. I wasn't sure he had enough of it to hit it out of the ballpark, but he squares it up. That is on the barrel. Driving it out to left center field. His 20th home run of the year. Exit velocity at 104.6. 422 feet into the pen.
Good day to be in the pen. When isn't it? We got a pitch change. Base is now empty thanks to Mitch Haniger in the 6th. Tony Sipp has taken over.
39 appearances. He's pitched well. ERA just over 2. 33 strikeouts. 9 walks on the year. Opponent's hitting .227. He's getting just 1 home run. Fastball slider split. Average fastball at 92.
Here's Robbie. Left on left. Laying off a close pitch, ball 1. Good numbers to say the least against Sipp. And 2-0.
Robbie hit the ball hard his last time up. Able to turn on a fastball and hit it into right field. Picked up a double and an RBI.
Sips 2-0. Inside.
Elias had been getting loose for the Mariners, but now Zach Duke getting loose. So with the Mariners scoring these runs here in the inning, that's changed things in the bullpen.
No!
Taking 3 and 1.
Don't give it away, huh?
20th home run this year for Haniger. Has brought the Mariners within 2. Finds Bregman. Well, it was one heck of a bottom of the 6th for the Mariners. They strike for 5 runs, and Mitch Haniger A 2-run home run. We have played 6, 9, 7 Astros.
It's 9-7 as we head to the 7th inning, and we are heading into Players Weekend this weekend, August 24th through the 26th. That means that players are going to wear specially designed majestic uniforms, and they're going to have nicknames on the back of their jerseys. They're also going to have a patch where they can recognize someone important in their life, and you can get a hold of one of these game-worn jerseys if you bid on the auction at MLB.com, or you can get your own jersey at the team store. Maybe you'd like to get a Big Maple jersey, or Sugar, or Bubba, or, you know, Aaron Goldsmith, if you'd like to go Frenchie. I think that would be my choice for Wade LeBlanc.
You know, I was disappointed.
Or Z. If you like the simplicity of Z.
I thought Wade's would have been Nito on the back. Super duper for Heredia. Here's Gurriel. Duke up on the mound now. Takes over in the top of the 7th. Now a 2-run game.
56 appearances, a 4.43 ERA, 42 strikeouts, over 18 walks, opponents in 292. He's given up just the 1 home run. Fastball in the upper 80s and a slider. So you had one of those jerseys a couple days ago, Aaron.
Yes, I do, Mike. That's right. We're on the same playing field now. Four-pitch walk. And so Duke begins things in the 7th. Not what he was hoping for.
No, that's not what you want to see after your team just scored 5 runs. We can get a double play ball.
Leadoff man aboard for Josh Reddick. Meanwhile, things interesting in Oakland. They are in the bottom of the 9th inning. Chris Davis, the tying run at the plate. Jose Leclerc trying to close it down for Jeff Bannister and the Rangers in that one. Bunting, he pops it up. Duke fields his position on top of the rubber.
Adam Warren, right-hander, starting to get loose in the pen.
He's
Well, he tried to take the bunt with him to the right side of the infield. Popped it up.
Strike one to Maldonado, who
Having a day.
is a triple shy of the cycle. The other day in Oakland, he finished a single shy of the cycle. To Romine, quickly gets rid of it. Over to D. On to Healy for the double play. Helps to wipe away that leadoff walk and take us to the bottom of the 7th. It's time to stretch. Today, the Mariners making this a ball game. 9-7 Astros. We move to the bottom of the 7th. MLB At Bat is your #1 Mariners app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get the Mariners home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV game of the day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast, stats, news, and much more. You can download MLB At Bat today. A pitch and change for A.J. Hinch and the Astros. Ryan Pressly, we saw him earlier in this series, back up on the mound here. He will work the bottom of the 7th.
60 appearances on the year, a 3.2 ERA, 82 strikeouts and 56 in the third. Holmes hitting .241. He has given up 6 home runs this year. As I mentioned, we've already seen him. Hard throwing right-hander, fastball at 96 miles an hour, slider and curve to go with it.
And he will face a pinch hitter. Cal Seager, who got today off until now. I mean, really, a full game can't go by and Seager not playing. Mariners getting 5 runs on 4 hits. Back in the 6th, Seager opens up the bottom of the 7th. Going after the first pitch.
Fastball at 96, just off the outside corner.
Not to center. Kemp cutting across, fighting the skies once again. One down. Well, the Mariners will have a day off tomorrow, a travel day, not a long flight at all. Only going to Arizona for spring training, but instead not at Chase Field for a 3-game weekend series. Our CenturyLink What's Next. Zach Godley going on Friday, Robbie Ray on Saturday, and Zach Greinke facing him on Sunday. 3-game weekend series, and a day off on Monday. Guys will enjoy that day off in San Diego. One out for Nelson Cruz. Already a home run and a double today. Slicing towards the pole in right field, nothing in 2. The 0-2. Altuve off to his left to make the catch. 2 down. It's another season of Beacon Plumbing High School football. It all kicks off September 6th. Don't miss all the action all season long right here on Root Sports. Brought to you by Beacon Plumbing, Heating, Electrical, and Mechanical. Stop breaking, call Beacon. 2 outs, nobody on for Denard Span. Mike, the 6th inning for the Mariners when they scored 5 runs. One of those runs coming on a D. Gordon sacrifice fly. It did make me think. I mean, he hits the ball on the ground a lot, right? He's not a guy you normally peg to drive it around with a sac fly. For D, that was actually his 4th sacrifice fly this year, which shines an even brighter light on the fact that today Joey Gallo, who hit his 33rd home run of the season, Mike, not just this year, never in his career does Joey Gallo have a sacrifice fly. Can you believe that?
I cannot believe that. But if you really think about it, he's going to do one of 2 things. He's going to strike out, right?
Right.
Or he's going to hit the ball in the air, and if he hits it in the air,
it's probably going to go out. But
probably.
Probably means that sometimes it won't. And knowing Gallo, it'll probably be deep. I mean, you would think you would come up, just miss one, right? To the warning
so.
track.
I agree with you.
Guy at third base. Like the odds of this over years now for Gallo. I mean, when he does put the ball in play, nobody has a fly ball rate that matches Gallo.
Right.
Now, this is also a young hitter who has more home runs than singles in his career. I don't know which is more impressive. More home runs than singles or never a sacrifice fly.
I'll let you decide. I just like that you're amazed by both.
I am. Shift is on. 2 outs and 1-2 count to Span. A nice crowd on hand for this one today. Midweek day game from Safeco Field. Our cricket attendance 31,062. The 2-2. Full count. Now Span can reach. Healy would come to the plate. He's having a nice afternoon. A couple of base hits, an RBI, and a run scored. Let's check in with Edgar for a moment. Presley reaching back across, keeps his feet. And a scoop pass over to first to end the inning. Side retired in order by Ryan Presley out of the 8th. On to the top of the 8th. Astros leading a wild one 9-7. One of the most anticipated series of the season is coming up awfully soon. Bronx Bombers visit the Pacific Northwest 3-game series. Mariners and Yankees beginning Friday, September the 7th. We hope to see you right here inside Safeco Field. You can pick up your tickets as always at mariners.com. Duke remains on the mound facing Tony Kemp. Changes for the Mariners. Seager remains in now at third. Cano goes third to second. Gordon second to short. He's got it. Kemp runs well. And out number 1.
And probably the last hitter. Scott Service on his way out of the dugout. Adam Warren getting loose.
So 1 out, the base is clean for Warren. As we will step aside. Top of the 8th. Mariners down 2. Now, it was the final earlier today, not long ago, coming to a close. In fact, the Coliseum. Day baseball, Rangers taking down the A's. So that's good news. Rangers double up the Athletics, who and runners in scoring position in the 9th inning to end that one. Our updated jet closing standings. The Astros now in first place by a half game, of the Mariners 4.5 games back. You can see the wild card standings as well. Yankees and A's followed by the Mariners. Aroldis Chapman, by the way, exited last night's game against the Marlins, placed on the disabled list today. So the Yankees closer on the shelf with a knee injury. As Adam Warren, a former Yankees, up on the mound here in the 8th inning with 1 out.
33 appearances, a 2.63 ERA, 41 strikeouts, over 19 walks, only 220 against him. Low 90s fastball with a slider.
Alex Bregman, the first to face Warren. Bregman's been on base 3 times in this one today, including an RBI single back in the 4th. A 5-run 4th inning for the Astros.
Oh yeah.
It's a strike there, 2-1. Soft fly ball out to Gamble in right field. 2 outs.
Looks like Hector Rondon getting loose in the pen for Houston. Another hard throwing right-hander.
course, last night Rondon got the save. Osuna pitched the 8th. Beginning to look more like just purely interchangeable parts for A.J. Hinch at the back of his bullpen. Weak wave and a miss from Altuve.
Thought he had named Osuna the closer, and then we see Rondon last night.
Right.
So,
and he named him the closer yesterday. But I mean, even when Kim Giles was just humming along last year, when he was just filthy, even then, Chris Davinsky would close sometimes.
highest leverage situation. Osuna started off 3-4-5 against the Mariners in the 8th inning.
It does kind of feel like, by the way, on the topic of the Astros bullpen, that they have made enough moves to kind of piece that together enough to be more than representative for a postseason push. We saw Presley, live arm coming over from the Twins. Obviously Osuna. Davinsky, when he comes back, adds a whole nother element.
Sip having a good year. A left-hander in the bullpen.
It's a strange
McHugh, what a year McHugh's having.
Right. And Peacock. Yeah. Earlier in the year, when you looked at the numbers for the Astros bullpen, they looked really strong. And then you saw the bullpen in person, and it, at least to the eye test, it didn't seem to go stride for stride with what the stat page said. Altuve reaching with 2 outs.
His second hit.
They've been busy to help bolster that pen a little bit. Of course, the rotation needs no help.
Adding Presley, Osuna to the pen.
There's Correa. Of course, the Astros have gone for the better part of a month without their full lineup in. Just getting Altuve back yesterday from the DL. Springer hasn't played any of the 3 games here. There's a quad issue, not on the DL. Altuve bolting to second. Zunino from his knees. Tagged by Robbie out of time. It's 15th.
Good jump from Altuve. Runs on a breaking ball, so he picks the right pitch to run on. Tried to throw him out from the knee.
Ball and strike. Correa among those just now getting healthy again. He was activated off the disabled list when the Mariners were in Houston and swept the Astros in 4 games. 4 and ahead.
Correa didn't like the borderline call. Kind of was in off the plate.
Still a ball with 2 strikes.
Correa just fighting that last fastball off. Elevated fastball on the inner half.
Zunino out for a word. The Mariners at one point were down 9-1 in this game. A run in the 5th, 5 runs in the 6th, now within 2. The 2-2 off the plate. Robbie is out. And he makes the catch. Altuve stranded in scoring position. It's down to the bottom of the 8th inning. Mariners down by 2. Alaska Airlines. Mariners trying to come back in this one. 9-7. Astros lead. We open up the bottom of the 8th. On the go, no problem. The Mariners are at your fingertips with the Root Sports mobile app. Just download the app and log in with your participating TV provider account information. Only available to customers whose TV subscription, of course, includes Root Sports. Check now to see if your provider is participating. Rondon, we saw him, of course, last night. We've seen him plenty of times before. Very live arm. He will work the bottom of the 8th for A.J. Hinch.
Will be his 50th appearance on the year. A 2.31 ERA, 54 strikeouts over 14 walks. Opponents hitting just .207 against him. Fastball at 97 miles an hour, and a slider.
First pitcher Ryan Healy.
98 miles an hour.
It was Healy who took Rondon deep on Sunday that helped propel the Mariners to that extra inning win. Part of that 4-game sweep in Houston a couple of Sundays ago. Now Ryan not happy with that at all.
Borderline pitch. Probably down, I would guess. And all right, Ryan not happy about it. Having a good day. He'd like to add to it. A couple of hits, an RBI, a run scored for him.
Flicks this in his center field. 3-hit day, Ryan Healy.
So he will add to it.
That brings a tight run to the plate.
That was well off the plate away from him, but he stays with it. The first breaking ball is 2 fastballs and then the slider off the plate. Picked up 5 hits in the last 2 days.
And this is, I know we've already said it's been an impressive day for Healy, but 3 hits against 2 right-handers who can just chew up and spit out right-handed hitters. Between Morton and Rondon. Gamble broken bat, finds Bregman. Correa pumps a heater to first, and a stretch by Gurriel, a double play.
5-6-3 double play. And being aggressive on the fastball. One step to the right. And a quick turn.
Two outs, nobody on for Zunino. We had a really interesting conversation with Steve Sparks, former big league pitcher and Astros radio analyst, about all the double plays from the Astros last night. And he referenced how the vast majority of double play balls come on the first pitch. Gamble's came on the first pitch. This isn't just by the Astros, but just historically. Most double plays come swinging at the first pitch of the at-bat. I don't know what to make of that.
I was asked about it, and I think that the 6 double plays that the Mariners were able to turn last night, and I think, again, Houston won aggressive. Ooh, 2. Yeah, maybe his shoulder. But the other part about it is not just aggressive, but if you can make a quality first pitch, typically it's going to be down and away because the pitcher is in trouble. That'll keep the ball on the ground. They'll roll over. And I think also hitters, for the most part, I think just try too hard sometimes to try to drive in that run. And that's the reason why. So you add all those things up.
99 miles an hour missing, 2-2. Full count.
Edwin Diaz playing catch out in the bullpen, not turning it loose yet.
The payoff. 2-out walk. That brings up D. Gordon. Maldonado with a conference on the mound. Well, Diaz sac fly, part of that 5-run 6th inning for the Mariners. That was highlighted by Haniger's 2-run homer. Altuve scampering to his right, unloads to Correa, and that will end the 8th. We go to the 9th inning. So a 2-run game. Every game of the series. But we want you to join the conversation for up-to-date game information and live interaction. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Check us out, stay connected with Root Sports. Tyler White leads it off for the Astros in the 9th inning. Adam Warren back on the mound for the Mariners. White a triple and a single today. Off the plate, ball 1. Gets it to 2-1. Another foul ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes to White, leading off the 9th inning. Gonzalez and Gurriel to follow.
A couple of quality strikes to get back into the count. 2 fastballs right on the outside corner.
Slugged out to Haniger, turning, showing his numbers. Haniger looking, gone. Blows up a beverage in the process. The Astros now with 10 runs. White's 8th home run this season, his 3rd hit today. 10-7 Houston. One's coming in hot.
And everything away from him. This is on the outside corner, but it's elevated above the belt, and he squares it up.
Second home run today for the Astros. Both have been solo. I'll tell you what, for an offense that has been struggling for a while now, you would not guess it today from the Astros. They've had their fair share of seeing eye singles. They've had a few smashes along the way as well. That one by White.
With it all the way through the pitch, all the way through.
And unfortunately for Scott Service of the Mariners, on a day where you get 7 runs, you give up 10.
Elias getting loose again.
The 1-2. Cano can't get there. First hit today from Marwin Gonzalez. Mike, it looks like we'll be seeing Marco Gonzalez pitching a couple of times on the upcoming road trip for the Mariners. And the Mariners, they obviously need Marco Gonzalez to be back in the first half form that we saw him in. The July form would be even better. He's been one of the best starters for the Mariners this season. August has not treated him well. Today, 8 runs, 11 hits over 3 innings for Marco Gonzalez. Next start for Marco, I think, would be a really big one, if nothing else, for his confidence, because we haven't seen him put together 4 starts like he has so far this month.
No, you're right about that, and I think that it's one of the reasons why they're giving him extra days. It's the amount of innings that he has thrown this year, and he hasn't been there before, and probably some of that he's trying to figure it out.
Gurriel out to left. Span is there. 1 down.
But he is definitely one of the big keys for this club, especially with the way that he had pitched in the first half. Scott Service going to make a pitching change. It will be Elias.
Left-handed bat of Reddick is due up next. 1 out, 1 on, top of the 9th. The pitching change with the Astros leading. The rubber game of the series. Hey, the 2019 schedule was announced today. Of course, the season will open up in Tokyo. Series against the A's, the home opener March 28th against the Red Sox. First road trip will be to Chicago and Kansas City. They're taking on the National League Central in interleague games this coming season. And the Cubs are coming to Safeco Field, so are the Cardinals, the Reds as well. Yankees will be here at the ballpark in late August once again. This year they'll be coming in September. So some notes on the schedule that's been announced today that'll be for the 2019 season. Here's Elias to face Josh Reddick. The shift on. I'll move to first base.
Elias average fastball at 94 miles an hour, curve and changeup, 14 appearances, a 4.18 ERA, 20 strikeouts over 10 walks. Opponent's hitting 280. Has yet to give up a home run.
Oh, 2. My goodness. Dropped down the arm a little bit all the way to the backstop.
That was behind it.
Gonzalez into second.
Not sure how it missed him. Breaking ball. That is behind him.
A chance for a double play erase now. Haniger quickly cutting across. Haniger picking up some speed. Does he make the catch? He makes the catch in center field. What a play, Mitch Haniger.
Full extension, catches it just before it hits the ground. Did not think he was going to get there. He made up a lot of ground. Dives a little bit early.
How often do you see the catch made when you're already on the ground?
Yeah, he dives early for it.
Incredible play. You would think that the force, the collision of
hitting the
ground would make it almost impossible to keep the glove in the right spot for the actual catch. Strike one to Maldonado.
Much Denard span. Changing directions.
Guess he doesn't run over his nameplate.
Right.
Two outs, Gonzalez at second. One, two. I'm going to take the under, by the way.
I would too. 34% catch probability.
The 0-2. Robbie snares it.
Some defense.
You're not kidding. All right. Well, we go to the bottom of the ninth inning. When we get there, the hill a little steeper to climb after the home run in the top of this ninth. Aaron. Down to their final 3 outs, down 10-7, and they will face Roberto Osuna. His numbers here split between the Blue Jays and the Astros.
21 appearances on the year, 9 saves, 2.95 ERA. Posting 282. He has not given up a home run.
Well, the man who made that catch will lead things off at the bottom of the ninth. Haniger, a 2-run home run his last at bat. The guys in the clubhouse, hopefully they have a good remedy for grass stains after the attacking catch from Haniger. Strike one.
Average fastball 95 miles an hour, slider and cutter.
Houston will take anybody on their team.
Now, Haniger has been a stud late in games. We've known that all season long. He leads off the bottom of the ninth. Right to Carlos Correa. 1 out. One down, nobody aboard for Cano. Mariners in jeopardy of losing their 8th consecutive home series to the Houston Astros.
Robbie 1 for 4. A double. Starts him off with a cutter on the inside corner.
No respect for this guy. No respect.
Ball and a strike to Cano. Astros travel on to Anaheim to take on the Angels once this series is over with. They have 3 games there from Anaheim before returning home. Very close, 2-1 in favor of Cano.
He doesn't deserve it.
Gonzalez in front of the track in left field. I'll tell you what, when you start looking towards the end of the season, with as tight as things are between the Astros and the A's in particular, the Mariners right there trying to leapfrog one of them. This could be a big swing. Last week of the season for A.J. Hinch and the Houston Astros. Now granted on the road, but nonetheless against 2 of the worst teams of the majors, at least in the American League. 3 in Toronto, 4 in Baltimore. The last 7 games against the 2 worst teams in the East. Baltimore, next loss will be number 90.
And they have Anaheim before that. Who knows what type of mood they're going to be in at that point.
Now you're right. Bregman a long chase after this. In front of him for strike 1. Also mixed in there 3 games at Detroit. Now they do have to travel to Fenway Park. In the early days of September, they'll play 3 against the Red Sox. That was a very advantageous final week, to say the least, though, for the Astros. Maldonado running out of room. 0-2 on Seager. Mariners, by contrast, their final week will be at home. 3 games against the A's and then 4 against the Rangers. Rangers have played the Mariners tough this year. Mariners down to their final strike. Still nothing in 2. Scott Servais yet to announce the starters for any of the 3 games in Arizona. TBA for the Mariners for all three beginning on Friday. Off day tomorrow. Travel day and a short flight down to Phoenix.
You mentioned it, 8 different starters over the last 8 days.
Mariners, of course, hopeful to see Paxton activated from the DL at some point on the road trip. That's the ball game. Astros win this one today 10-7. They win the series. They take 2 games out of 3.
Disappointing homestand, 2-4 for the Mariners on the homestand. Doesn't get much easier with Arizona heading down there for the weekend, and so they're going to have to get things turned around quickly. They want to stay in this thing.
Mariners post game presented by Alaska Airlines begins right now. Val, Brad, it's all yours.
Aaron and Mike, thank you. Boy, you see the 10 runs, 17 hits. Yes, the Mariners did come back, but ultimately the Astros win their 8th straight series here at Safeco Field. Altuve is back, had a couple of knocks and an RBI. His first hits and RBI since coming off the DL. And as the guy said, not a great homestand. You're 2-4. You gave up 44 runs in the 6 games. I guess you could say that the offense showed some signs of life today.
Well, and I think that was the one positive thing that came out of this ball game for the Mariners, to score 7 runs, especially after they fell behind. They could have easily just kind of rolled over, but they brought this game back to life, had a chance to come back and take this game this afternoon. But unfortunately, it was just too much of a deficit to overcome.
Marco Gonzalez, extra rest, has not pitched in 9 days, comes out and gives up 8 runs, the most he's ever given up. We'll talk about Marco, hopefully to Marco as well, here from the skipper. Talk about this one and preview the upcoming road trip. The Astros take it 10-7. Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines starts right now on Root Sports.